Q&A box, put in some questions that we'll address at the end. And there's also the chat box. Make sure to drop where you're tuning in from and your LinkedIn so we can connect. And now I will hand it on over to Nancy from Momentive.
Thanks so much, Bridget. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for setting aside some time to come and listen to me on a Friday afternoon. I really appreciate you all being here. My name is Nancy Halpin, and I sit on the Solutions Engineering team within Momentive's Market Research Division. And I'm really excited to show you all our brand tracking platform today. Before I start showing you what the solution looks like, I am just going to sort of set the stage for you all as to what our market research team really does, how we fit within Momentive, and what makes our solutions really stand out in the marketplace. So the first and the most exciting one that we put right at the top on this web page here that you all can definitely peruse at your own leisure is our AI-driven insights. And you'll see this within the brand tracker as well. It is something that's available across all of our solutions. So whether you're working with us on a brand tracker, on a concept test, on a usage and attitude study, you will have a tool within your solution that will show you, one, your statistically significant results. So where are we seeing significant changes in our KPIs? And then two, what subset of my audience drove those results? So the manual work that it often takes researchers many days or hours to complete, a lot of filtering on your own to get to these questions, this tool will definitely float those insights to the top for you, provide those quick insights, and maybe uncover some things that you might not have been thinking about previously as well. So you'll see that when we move over to the brand tracker. In addition to our AI Insights tool being available across all of our solutions, just making sure that we can really run the gambit across any of your market research needs so that we have solutions and methodologies that make your experience more enriched and really easy to use, but also that we have some advanced analysis tools available for you. So things like key driver analysis, running any conjoint and max stiff studies if you're interested in feature optimization, pricing sensitivity studies with Van Westendorp methodology or Gaber-Granger as well. And then thinking about cluster analysis and segmentation. So understanding your larger audience, what kinds of people they are, what kinds of personas they have. And then this is all, of course, really powered by our panel reach. So working with Momentive, you'll have access to over 175 million people in over 130 countries throughout the world. We also have over 50 different profiling attributes. So thinking about those targeting options. Are we speaking to only women? Are we speaking to only people that work part-time? Are we speaking to only people that are subscribers of a certain sort of service within their utilities? A lot of ways that we can specify the audience based on your research objective. But if there's anything that isn't available in the targeting, we can, of course, add in any custom screening as well. So things within the survey that will then drill down your audience to be very specific to the type of people you want to hear from. And the last note on this page that really is a great segue into the brand tracker is this note here about our professional services team. So this is Momentive's team of expert market research analysts that can really step in and help you all on a single project at any time. They can work on an ad hoc basis and let you know we can step in and help out with your survey design and then have your client team take over on programming. We can step in and handle the analysis and reporting. We can take it on as a full service project, a hybrid, or your client team is available to operate totally DIY. So a lot of ways that we really customize our work to fit our clients' needs. We don't want anyone to feel that they have to take everything on their own. So we have this team of professional services that are available for you guys as well. And within the brand tracker, you'll see actually that there is nothing related to programming your survey or launching your survey. And that's because since this is such a long-term project with a lot of management over periods of time, launching it with each wave, we want our clients to feel like we have things taken care of. And all you really need to do is log into the platform and start looking at the data. So when it comes to the kickoff or the setup for any brand tracking project with Momentive, this professional services team is automatically included in that call. And they will be there to, one, consult on your survey design. Two, they'll program the survey for you. And then three, you'll also have a dedicated account manager or customer success manager who will launch and manage the fielding with every wave. whether that's monthly, quarterly. So there's a lot to do with managing a brand tracker over a period of time. And we want you all to feel like you don't have to take on so much of that work. And we will definitely manage a lot of that in the setup and then throughout the life cycle of the brand tracker. So now I'm going to move us over to our brand tracking solution and show you all what it looks like. Awesome. So here I am in an example brand tracker that we have. This is just on the e-commerce and retail industries here in the States. And accessing your brand tracker is going to be right within your own Momentive account. So the same way you log in to either create any surveys or to check on other progress that has been launched, the same access will be for your brand tracker. You'll log in, you'll find your project and click into the results here. This landing page that you start on is really just a good place to come and check the parameters of your study. So here I can check on all of the details as far as where we're running, how frequently, and if we're running in multiple markets. So this example, e-commerce tracker, is just running in the US. If we were running in multiple markets, I could see that reflected here as well. This could be my US tracker and then my Canada tracker and then my Mexico tracker. So all of that will still live together within one single project, and you can access those different data sets within the one project. So here I can see my US tracker. We're running on a monthly frequency, and then I can check the details of my target audience. So here, this is a United States Gen Pop study. But when I click into this drop down on the right-hand side, I'm going to see a little bit more detail about who we're recruiting and how many people. So one, what is that response size, the sample size we're going after for this wave this month? What is the incidence rate? So related to those screening questions I mentioned on the previous page, are we disqualifying anyone based on their responses within the survey? So that will then have an impact on our incidence or qualification rate. We want this to be fully accessible and transparent here for your teams. So we'll have that listed here. The country, of course, that we're recruiting from, and then some of our basic demographics. So things like our age and gender. So here, if there are any other specific targeting attributes that you have applied to your audience, those would be reflected here, as well as potentially any balancing like census representation or custom quotas that you're going after. Awesome. I'm going to keep us moving now here to the analysis tab, and I have one up and ready for us here. And so diving into the analysis tab is where you're going to see all of your charts and all of your survey questions reflected. So here at the top, we start you with a brand funnel. Now, this is just going to be taking some of those survey questions that we've designed with that professional services team and defining them as part of our funnel. So it will be much longer than just a few questions, your actual survey, but here we want to help your teams visualize things like conversion rates, attrition, and understand where those gaps are and how your business decisions might change that. So for our e-commerce tracker, we have our brand funnel here, which consists of my aided awareness metric on the top. And then down below is more of a behavioral metric about where people are going to purchase goods online. What websites or marketplaces did you use to purchase in the past 12 months? And then where can we fit the gap, or where can we close this gap as well? Right now, we're looking at one brand. Right now, we're just looking at Amazon for the brand funnel. You can see all of the other competitors that we've included in our e-commerce tracker here at the bottom. And when you select each one, it will update the brand funnel to then show the metrics for that brand. So you can still have a really great competitive view across the entire life cycle of your brand, of your tracker. Working with us, we will go through the design process of saying what competitors would be most important for you to have a measurement against. And then you'll see that reflected here, not only in the funnel, but throughout the whole survey as well. Excellent. Below the brand funnel are just some more of our chart outputs. So some of the behavioral data that we wanted to capture about this audience, things like purchase behavior, where people are going to go, whether they're in a store or online, if they're purchasing from social media. And then moving down into our KPIs for brand health tracker, some of those really common metrics that people are wanting to know. So something like unaided awareness. I have this reflected here. wanted to show this as an example to say, here we have this little note down at the bottom to show that we have software in place that will automatically group these responses for unaided awareness. So if there's any typos or if there's any sort of spaces within, the entry that people entered. So if someone's put Facebook Marketplace, we could combine those into Facebook and Facebook Marketplace as one option. So all of this will be taken care of for you. You won't see multiple responses that have to do with typos or just any sort of differences in that naming. I'm going to keep us scrolling down here, just a couple more examples of our chart visualizations. So you'll notice that the unaided awareness is in a table view. And now my aided awareness here is back to my line charts. But I can change the visualization if I'd like to. So I can come up to that button in the top right, and I'll see a couple of the different options here for me, whether it's based on personal preference or what type of insight I'm trying to pull or question I'm trying to answer in that moment. So I'm going to show us again one of the table views. And right now here, I'm looking at the overall impression for Amazon, right? So sort of a brand affinity question. And I'm in my table view here. So when I, as a researcher, come in and look at this chart, it's really helpful for me to, one, see the sample size for every single wave. So we can see that reflected here. The individual data points, of course. And then, as you may have noticed, we also have these indicators here in the corner for any statistically significant differences. So again, really trying to help bring those insights to the top for your team, make sure that these are really easy for you to pull and capture so you understand what those changes are wave over wave. You can see a little bit more in the legend up top here as well. All of this is being run at a 95% confidence level. And then as you gather more data over time within the platform, we can, of course, layer in things like a month over month or year over year view. So we really want this to be a tool that your team can rely on for a long period of time and have a lot of trustworthiness in the data. Awesome. And then a couple more examples of the questions here. You can see that they're repeated now per brand. So we have those same impression questions. And I like to highlight some of those different examples, especially the behavioral ones at the top, because we really like to promote the customization of this survey for our clients, right? That design process with the professional services team will be very specific, not only to your team, your client, but to your industry, to your competitors, and to what information will help you make better business decisions. So if there's any behavioral segments or psychographic segments that will really help your team in making those different impacts for your own business decisions, we want to hear that from you. We want that to be included in the survey. So all of this will be fully customized in that design process for you. Back up to the top. So a couple menu bars that'll take you guys through here. So this first one on the left-hand side is a place where you can come and change the configuration of your data. So if we're running in multiple markets, this is a place I could come and switch those between potentially, again, US and Canada. I can change between my target audiences. So if this were reflecting a couple of different targeting attributes, then I could go ahead and filter the data that way. I can roll up the data if I'd like to. So I'm running on a monthly cadence. If I want to roll this up to quarterly, I can go ahead and do that, even biannually or annually. And then also looking at date ranges. A lot of our clients find this to be really helpful in getting sort of a light pre and post view against any other internal plans that you know are coming up. So it's really helpful when we know there's potentially a media campaign that's taking flight or a new store location that's opening, a brick and mortar. We can cut the data so you can see if there's been any impact on your brand health metrics within that time period. Awesome. I'm going to skip over here to our filters and some basic demographics that we have represented here: age, gender, and household income. But of course, any question-based filters that you'd like to create, you can go ahead and do that here. And another thing that I really love about all of our tools across Momentive is you can always save and name your filters for easy access in the future. So if there's a certain segment or persona that you're going back to most frequently, it might not take a ton of time, but it might feel like a little bit of a nuisance to build a 5-layer filter. So here you can go ahead and just have it accessible on the left-hand side under all your saved filters. And then next to that, we also have our compare function. So this will operate like filters, but it's going to let you look at two or more groups side by side. So giving you sort of a light crosstab view, understanding any differences in metrics by certain segments. So whether that's those targeted audiences that we talked about, or again, based on your questions that are within the survey. So you'll see the tables update to reflect those groups side by side. Awesome. And now the very exciting piece is the AI insights. So I'm going to go into here. And again, what this tool is going to do is not only show me one, where are my statistically significant differences? Where are those changes wave over wave that we know are not due to chance? This is something that really is due to our brand, our campaign, something that we've put out there. And then two, it's going to show me what subset of my audience drove those results. So to think about who should we be targeting in the future? What's a group that we weren't aware our brand was really resonating with? And how should we think about them moving forward? All of those types of insights really easily accessible. So I'm going to click into here. And right now I have all of my insights grouped by brand, which you can change to look at metric as well. I'm going to keep it at brand. I like to see them organized this way. It's helpful for me, especially when I'm thinking about our client teams and we want to pull our own specific insights out first and quickly. So this second insight here under Amazon, my overall impression being very positive of Amazon, this was a significant increase over last wave by 5 points. That's great. That's nice to know, but I saw that in the table. I had my indicator in the corner. I pulled that data point myself. But as a researcher, the point that is really going to take up most of my time and is going to be reflected here is the groups with the biggest change since last period. So rather than having your team members go through and manually filter a bunch of different segments and try to find the magic answer for why there was a significant increase or decrease over a previous wave, this is going to take a lot of that guesswork out for you. So here, the groups with the biggest change since last period are people that are ages 45 to 44 and are Caucasian or white ethnicity. Also was driven by people generally ages 45 to 54, also driven by Black women in my subset, in my total audience. So how can we think about those groupings in the future? How should we understand our targeting and our media in the future as well? So hopefully something that you all feel would be a really big time saver for you. As someone that used to run a lot of research in the past before joining Momentive, I know that this is a tool that I definitely would have found a lot of use out of. Excellent. And before I move us to the last piece here, just going to call out the export data button. It's your data, you own it. If you need to download it at any time, a couple of the options here for you: Excel, SPSS, and CSV. But the last thing I'll show you all is going to be on our dashboards. So thinking about sharing out results, thinking about reporting, we want this to also be really easy for you guys and your teams. So what we have here is, if you click into your dashboards, you're going to be able to create custom dashboards, which are essentially just a representation of certain survey questions, certain audiences, certain markets. So here it will be fully customizable. You'll see all the dashboards that your team has built. And these are available to be shared with team members outside of anyone that has logged on to a SurveyMonkey license. So even if your team members are not part of the people that are in the platform doing the work, you can still share these with key stakeholders, with leadership, people that really need to see how things have been performing wave over wave. You can share them just with this little button on the right-hand side. It will generate a URL for you. And then you can also add a password. So we want you all to, of course, feel like there's that security and privacy. So if these are being shared publicly, you can go ahead and add a password as well for an extra layer of security. And I'm going to pop into this e-commerce tracking one here. I have it up and ready to go. I'll show you guys what it looks like. And again, those same chart visualization options are available here for you. You can change the charts however you need to. It's really up to whatever you're trying to convey, whatever narrative you're trying to tell as well. So whether that's the longitudinal analysis piece, whether you're going into the specific wave over wave changes, this is all going to be based on your own design needs. So I'll scroll down and show you guys a little bit more. This is an Amazon specific dashboard, only the questions that have to do with Amazon. And the last two pieces on the dashboards are that you may have noticed also up here in the top left corner. Anyone that receives the dashboard will also have access to the data configuration and the target audiences and the date ranges. So it is not a static view of the data. It is very dynamic, and it will be, a lot more feasible for your team members to pull out their own insights, do their own digging into the data with these tools. And the very last piece is that the dashboards also update at the close of every single wave. So you do not then need to create a September dashboard, an October dashboard, a November dashboard. You can rest easy knowing that all of your teammates that have this URL already will have the most recent data as soon as we're out of field and the data has been cleaned. So really dynamic way to keep all of your team members, all of your leadership up to date with your brand health, and making sure that the work is not too much on you guys to build any sort of decks outside of the platform as well. And that is really it that we have for you today on the brand tracking platform. Thank you guys so much. I know we have some questions that have been coming in. Happy to answer those, but please feel free to reach out even afterwards. We're more than happy to set up another demo or answer follow-up questions. But with that, Bridget, do we have any questions to answer?
We do. Awesome. Thanks, Nancy, so much. So first off, would you explain for those who may not know the connection between Momentive and SurveyMonkey?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So, absolutely. And I see a question coming in about SurveyMonkey being here up in the web address. So, last year, it was July 2021, SurveyMonkey rebranded to be Momentive. We were not acquired, there was no sort of acquisition or buyout or anything like that. We decided to rebrand as a way to really exemplify that our services go well beyond the DIY survey space. I know I'm someone that used SurveyMonkey as a college student, and I very much was familiar with it as, I pop in, I program a couple quick questions, I send the link to my friends or my classmates, and that's really it. But there's so much more that we exemplify, and not only in our market research, even in our customer feedback tools, in our SurveyMonkey enterprise tools, and then beyond our brand tracker as well. So we wanted to have a name that really reflected the scope of services that we offer. So SurveyMonkey still exists as a product. You will still go in and program things within SurveyMonkey, and that's why the URL is reflected there. But now, as a whole company, we are Momentive. So I hope that clears things up.
Thank you. And we had a question come through. Can you input historical data so it can track along with any new waves fielded?
Sure. So this is really going to be on a case-by-case basis, thinking about tracking over historical or transferring over historical data. The only concerns we have are just making sure that there aren't too many changes in the survey design for that consistency piece, and that the audience is also the same. So we'll take that on a case-by-case basis. If anyone has interest, to reach out and let us know, here's where I'm currently running, but I'd love to bring things over. What can we do to make that happen? We definitely have tools in place to support that, but for the consistency, we'll come with a couple of questions prepared to make sure that your experience is going to be as seamless as possible in moving over.
Awesome. And then can we use this tracker tool with a B2B audience?
Yes, and that is a great question. So this was a very Gen Pop consumer focused example, but we have quite a few B2B clients on here. So anything that comes to us with the brand tracker scope, we will always let you know in full transparency. One, how many people can we get? To how close to your target audience or your dream audience can we get? So in the B2B space, we definitely have a lot of trackers that run against that audience. And we even have clients that have a B2B tracker and a B2C tracker running at the same time. So that is a resounding yes, we can.
Awesome. And when can we start seeing the results? Would it be at the end of the recruitment wave?
Also a very good question. So yes, I know I said the dashboards update at the close of every wave, and that's for those people that are outside of the SurveyMonkey seat license. However, the great thing about our tool is that you can log in here and start looking at this data as soon as we start collecting responses. So we really try to make sure that we are being as open and transparent with our clients as possible. We don't want you to be waiting months for you to be able to make any business decisions and really put this data to use. So as soon as we're live in field, which you will know working with your customer success manager, you can go ahead and start looking at data, even if it's preliminary.
Awesome. And so for those who don't need data monthly, what are their frequency options?
Yes, yeah. So this is a monthly example, but we definitely take again that into account when we customize the scope for any brand trackers. So we have clients that run even biannual, and we don't want to overload anyone with data that you're not going to be using. You know, we want you guys to feel like your data and your money is being used smartly. So when it comes to the frequency, we won't push you into a monthly tracker if that's not what your team needs. We can go quarterly, we can go biannually, we can go annually as well, and thinking about a longer term engagement there. So all of that is still very customizable.
Great. Thank you again, Nancy, for joining
Yeah,
us today. And thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in.
awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend, everyone.